Hello guys, today we are going to cover the quotient rule, okay, which is when it looks like a fraction with the division bar, okay? So it's to divide monomials using the quotient rule. The rule is when you have them the same base and they're dividing, you subtract, okay? When same base and dividing, subtract exponents. So it would look like x to the a minus b. Now let's work a problem and see why does that work. Okay, so if I have x to the fifth, that's going to be x times x times x times x times x all over x to the third, which is x times x times x. Okay, now the x is just representing a number. So if I had 5 divided by 5, that equals 1. It kind of cancels itself out and equals 1. Well, the same goes for when you have a variable. These x's will cancel out and make a 1. These x's will cancel out and make a 1. These x's will cancel out and make a 1, so that I'm left with x times x in the numerator spot here. So that's going to give me an answer of x squared when I work out with the expanded form. Remember again, this right here is expanded form so that you can understand why this works. Now, based on the rule, we would have x to the 5 minus 3, which equals x squared. Okay, let's work another one. Okay, number 3. This one's a kind of a little bit of a special scenario when we think about this. So I've got, you should remember this rule from earlier. So this is going to be m to the 3 minus 3, which equals m to the 0. Well, if I were doing that in expanded form, that means I'm just going to end up with a bunch of 1s multiplied together. So therefore, it equals 1. Anytime it's raised to the 0 power, it equals 1. When exponent is 0, it equals 1. Okay, moving right along. Number 6. Okay, so I'm going to have x to the 20 minus 5 times y to the 9 minus 9 and z to the 2 minus 1, which, oh, if it's 9 minus 9, that equals 0. So this actually goes away. And my final answer is going to be x to the 15th, z to the 1st, which I don't even have to write that 1. I just leave it as z. So here is my final answer. Questions about that one? Make sure you pause, rewatch, and put a question mark by it to be able to ask me the next day. All right, now we're going to talk about when we've got numbers with it as well. It's got the coefficients. So with coefficients, so we divide the coefficients. You just follow your division rules, and then we simplify using the quotient rule. So let's look at number 9. So I've got negative 36 divided by 4. Okay, that's going to equal negative 9. And then I have c to the 2 minus 2, d to the 5 minus 3. Well, the 2 minus 2, that's going to give me negative 9 c to the 0, d squared. But that c to the 0 equals 1. So my final answer is negative 9 d squared. Okay, next example. Okay, number 12. Let's paper up a little bit. Okay, so now with this one, 36 is not divisible by 35. I have to simplify. Okay, well, I can think of 9, but I'm just wondering, what's 36 times 2? Or what's 36 plus 36? 36 plus 36. That's, no. Okay, so that I don't see, that's not going to work because that would have been much higher. Okay, so I'm going to just start by dividing by 9 because they're both divisible by 9. So I'm going to start there. So I'm going to have 36 divided by 9 is 4. 54 divided by 9 is 6. Oh, eventually I can see that this would be smaller, but we'll keep going right now. So we have m to the 9 minus 3, n to the 5 minus 2. So now my next step is where I'm going to simplify further. So the 4/6 can simplify to become 2 to the 3rd, m to the 6th, n to the 3rd. And there is my final answer. And moving right along. So number 16. This is where we're putting all the rules together in a way. Okay, so this is a power raised to a power. So that means my next step, I'm going to have 2 to the 4th on the top, c to the 4th, and this is a power raised to a power, so that's going to become d to the 16th, all over 2 squared, c to the 4th, d to the 6th. Okay, so here we go. So now we've got to start simplifying. So that means we get to use the handy dandy calculator to figure out what 2 to the 4th is, unless you're smarty party and know what 2 to the 4th is. So it's 2 raised to the 4th, which is 16. So we have, I'll put this over here, 16, and then 2 squared is 4. So that's 16 over 4, which is then c to the 4 minus 4, d to the 16 minus 6, which the c to the 4th, that cancels out, and the 16 divided by 4 is 4, so we have 4d to the 10th as our final answer for this one. Okay, now we're moving on to where we start just having all the rules at the same time. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to move on to number 18. Okay, so we've got, this is 12 squared, which is 144 k to the 10th, because you multiply the exponents, over 15 squared, which is 225 k squared. And now we have to simplify. Now I do want to try something and see, what if I simplify this inside of here first? Do we end up with the same thing? Well, 144 and 225, because I'm just going to be simplifying that, I'm going to try something here. So we have, because I can divide both by 3, so this is going to become 4, and this is going to become 5. So that's going to be 4 squared, which is 16 over 5 squared, which is 25. And then we have the k to the 10 minus 2, which gives me, I can't simplify this any further, so this is 16 over 25 k to the 8th. Oh yeah, this is much better to do it this way. So this is my answer. And let's go ahead and simplify first. So simplify, oops, we can't see. Simplify inside parentheses first, except if it's the same number. Don't do it if it's the same number. That will not work. So don't do this way. This way is much better because it gets you to the answer quicker. Okay, so now let's jump down and let's look at 21. Okay, so we're pulling in everything here. This is our product rule. So we have 2 times 3, which is 6. Now this is just multiplication going on here. So I have p to the 4th. So I'm adding the exponents because I have 1 to, oh, that's a 2, not a 3. So this is 1 plus 2, which is 3. P to the 1 plus 4, which is 5. If you still need to write the middle step, then you write it. There's nothing wrong with any of that. That's not a P, that's a Q, Kimberly. And then in the bottom, we just rewrite it. So we have negative 6 P Q to the 5th. Well, when I look at this, these are the same. So that's just going to cancel. I'm only worrying about the P's right now. So 6 divided by negative 6 is equal to negative 1. So I'm going to have a negative P squared. You can write the 1 or you can leave it off. It doesn't matter because we're doing 3 minus 2. So we would have negative 1 P to the 3 minus 1 equals just negative P squared. Okay, next example. 24. This is where we've got power to the power, product, and the quotient rule. Okay, but we got to do the power to the power first. So I've got 3 squared, which is 9, m to the 4th, because it's 2 times 2, times negative 4 squared. So that's a negative 4 squared. So that means it's negative 4 times negative 4. Oh, you can't see. Negative 4 times negative 4, so that's going to give me a positive 16 n to the 10th. All over 8 m to the 3rd n to the 4th. Okay, well, now that I'm doing this, I can see 8 goes into 16 twice. So I can cancel this, and this is going to become a big 2. Okay, so take care of that part. So I've got 9 times 2, which gives me 18 m to the, so there's not an m in this one, so I don't need to worry about that. So therefore, now I can do my quotient rule. So the 4 minus 3 n to the 10 minus 4. So we end up with 18 m n to the 6th. And this is my final answer. Okay, next example, last one, is 27. I'm going to do several so that you can see it all works together. Oh, so now we're adding and subtracting into with this as well. Okay, so we have to do the power to the power first. So that's going to give me 2 to the 3rd, that's 8. So we have 8 m to the 6th times 3 to the 3rd. So that's going to give me 27 n to the 12th, all over 9 m to the 4th n to the 7th minus 18 m squared n to the 5th. Okay. Next step, got to keep doing this stuff. I'm going to kind of change here. Oh, I look, the 9 and the 27, those can cancel, and this becomes a 3. And then I can do the quotient rule. So I'm going to have 8 times 3, which is 24. Now I'm doing 6 minus 4, so this is going to become m squared. So I'm going to have 12 minus 7, so that's going to be n to the 5th minus 18 m squared n to the 5th. Oh, we have the same variable scenario, so that means I can actually do 24 minus 18, which gives me 6 m squared n to the 5th. And that is my final answer. Okay, remember to ask me questions if you have them. Have a great day. Bye.